Day 21, 3 weeks now since we started our battle through the state. The energy level continues to be incredible. I've seen many of you at the rallies, and I know some of you have spent 13, 14, 15, 16 days at the Capitol expressing your views. We sure appreciate that. All of us appreciate that. But the thing that is incredible about all this is the tremendous solidarity that we're seeing from other unions. Unions here in this state, unions across the state, in the industrial sector and the building trades, unions from outside of the state, both coming in here with people and buses, but also providing us with resources to continue the fight against Walker and his budget repair bill in the budget. It's absolutely incredible. It is energizing as hell, and if there is one or two of you that haven't made it to the Capitol, let me strongly urge you to get there, to pick up the energy and the resolve of working men and women here in the state. You know, I keep saying we will prevail, and we will prevail. We'll be here one day longer. We may have to go through some battles, but we will be here. We will prevail over this dismantling of the Wisconsin values. There's a couple things I want to talk to you about today also that I think is important. One is that on March 13th, our contracts evaporate. Because the Senate rejected our contracts, we were in an extended contract period. Walker and his folks gave us a notice of cancellation. So what that means is that everything but mandatory subjects of bargaining evaporate in your contract. Now, it's really difficult for us to tell you what that means because the state, OSER, and others will not talk to us at any length about what their plans are. We do know from some memos that have been circulated that they're going to pick and choose. For instance, they're going to increase your health insurance and your pension contribution, but they're going to take away dues deduction, and some of the other parts of the contract they're going to implement, but only until June 30th. We think that there's a legal issue here about implementing the increases in benefits because those are mandatory subjects of bargaining. But you're all going to have to go through a little bit of experiences as we take this to the courts of law, but see what the state does in terms of not having collective bargaining agreements. And even if some of the memos of understanding and pieces of the contract are implemented after the 13th, they can be taken away with a stroke of a pen. The head of OSER can just say on Tuesday, we're not going to do this anymore, or on 2 weeks later, we're not going to do this anymore. So there's no certainty to a lot of portions of the contract that they implement. We continue to have our attorneys look at this. I know that they've already perfected at least the filings for the evaporation of mandatory subjects of bargaining. I know that they're discussing some of the other things, but the fact of the matter is that things will change on March 13th for state employees, all under union contracts. We continue the fight. We are now engaged in incredible recall activities around the state. In a couple short days, the response and the signatures on recall petitions have been absolutely incredible. In a couple of the Republican districts, they've been almost 20% of what we've needed for to create a recall election. And I'm sure that many of you and others who are circulating these petitions haven't had the opportunity to turn them in yet. So the first weekend we had 2,100 volunteers circulating recall petitions. That's absolutely incredible, and we know that all of you are doing the same thing. If you have questions about that, you need to call your field rep or go to CPAC, the CPAC website. It has all the information on recall and recall petitions. We also are back up on television and radio after down for a day. So far we have spent about $5 million in television ads and radio ads around the state. The International Union has been incredibly generous with basically funding about 2/3 of that $5 million. But we continue to try to have a public presence. And it's working, because as you've seen, the polls, including the Republican-leaning polls, conservative-leaning polls, actually show Walker's popularity dropping into the low 40s. And when asked about whether public support taking away our rights to collectively bargain, polls are saying about 60% of the people say no, they can't support that. So in spite of the fact that the right wing is running TV ads 2 or 3 times as much as the ones we're running, our ads are having more effect in terms of the public attitude. Lastly, let me talk to you about this upcoming weekend. On Saturday, the 12th of March, we'll be doing another mass rally in Madison. Buses will be running as they were previously, and we encourage as many state employees as possible to come down. 2 things are going to happen at this rally on March the 12th. One is we're going to be protesting the fact that our contracts, state employee contracts, will be null and void on the 13th of March. There will be speakers there to talk about that. There will be events that we will participate in, including recall tents where you can sign your signature on recall petitions. But we want to have a strong presence of state employees at that March 12th rally, at the Capitol. Secondly, we're going to be unveiling a much broader coalition than labor. We are currently in contact with many of the other community groups and agencies who are negatively affected by Walker's budget proposal. And we're bringing them together into a coalition with labor that we will be kicking off, if you will, at the rally on March the 12th. So it's important that we broaden our fight here. We broaden our base of the fight. We're doing that. These numbers that labor has produced, could double or triple when we start talking about school districts and counties and cities and agencies that deal with the developmentally disabled or the disabled, and church groups and all those others. So the struggle continues, the Army continues to enlarge, and we are having impact on this governor and on these Republicans. We just need to keep the pressure up so that ultimately we will prevail. Solidarity, everybody.